let's do some example regarding Taylor series. Now, in this problem, what I want you to do is, I gave you a function. I need two things. Number one, I need a Taylor polynomial. Number two, I need a Taylor series. All right, so the Taylor series, I already put that on the right hand side for you in red, so that is the Taylor series. And then in the previous video, the one where I talk about Maclaurin series, do you see that I gave you some function and its Taylor polynomial, and I also mentioned that what if the function is not one of those 7 functions I gave you on the previous video. So this is a perfect example. I gave you a function x times e to the x that is not one of the 7 functions I gave you in the previous video. So now, how do you build a Taylor polynomial and a Taylor series? All right, using the first 5 terms. So these problems, sometimes they are really long. If the numbers, they don't work out nice, that makes the problem even longer. So what you have to do is, you have to do these 3 things. The first one is derivative. The second one is derivative at the indicated value, which is a equals to 0 in this problem. And then you have to write out the terms. So let's do the derivative. So regarding the derivative, this is x times e to the x. Then you have to use product rule in case you forgot product rule already. So let me remind you what a product rule is. So product rule is you multiply 2 functions and then you take the derivative of them. So that is f prime g plus g f prime. So this is the product rule, f g prime. Oh, f g prime, g f prime. F g prime and then g f prime. So you took the derivative of g and then you took the derivative of f. Okay, let's start. So the first one is f of x. So the first one, we don't need to take any derivative. Just f of x equals to x times e to the x. And then the second one, f prime of x. So that is equals to x. The derivative of e to the x is equals to e to the x. I am happy that there is no chain rule in here. And then g is e to the x. The derivative of f is equals to 1. So that's it. And then I would like to factor this a little bit. So e to the x times 1 plus x. This is very important. Factor is very important. You do a little factor or you do a little simplification. That helps you to find the pattern. And then a double prime. So that is the double prime of the previous answer. So this one will be e to the x. And then the derivative of the parenthesis is 1, right? 0 plus 1, that is just a 1. And then plus g f prime, so that will be 1 plus x. The derivative of e to the x is still e to the x. And then you open it up, so that is e to the x plus e to the x plus x times e to the x. So that is 2e to the x plus x e to the x, and then you do a factor. For me, factor out the e to the x. So now inside the parenthesis, you have a 2 plus x. So now you can see a little pattern from 1 plus x to 2 plus x. So the next one, I expect to get a 3 plus x. Let's make sure that it's true. And then triple prime of x. So 2 to the x, the derivative of the parenthesis is just 1 and then plus. And then 2 plus x, the derivative of e to the x is still e to the x. Open everything, so e to the x plus 2 e to the x plus x e to the x. So that gives you a 3 e to the x plus x e to the x. And then you factor a e to the x out, you're right, we get a 3 plus x. So looks like the fourth prime, I expect to get a 4 plus x, right? So that is e to the x, the derivative of the parenthesis is 1, and then plus the parenthesis, 3 plus x. And then the derivative of e to the x still itself, and then you open up everything, e to the x plus 3 e to the x plus x e x. So that is 4, right? 4 e to the x plus x e to the x. I know, it's a lot of work. If the function is complicated, wow, then this problem is going to be super long. And then you factor out the e to the x, so you have 4 plus x. So it looks like we change from 2 to 3 and then from 3 to a 4, right? So the derivative is done. So remember, we have to do 3 big things. Number one is derivative. Number two is you plug in an a. Number three is you have to express the term and then find the pattern. So the first one, f of a, what is a? A is equals to 0. So you have 0 times e to the 0, that is equals to 0. And then the next one, you have e to the 0, and then 1 plus 0. Don't tell me that equals to 0. E to the 0 power is 1. 1 times 1 is equals to 1. First derivative, right? And then f double prime of 0. So e to the 0, and then 2 plus 0. So that is equals to 1 times 2 is equals to 2. And then the triple prime. So that is e to the 0, and then 3 plus 0, that is equals to 3. And then the fourth prime. So that is e to the 0, and then 4 plus 0, so that is equals to 4. So now we got the derivative, and then we also got the plug-in. So now I can go back, not go back, I can create a table to summarize all the results. So this is the table that I would like to create. So first we draw a line and then n. So we have to list out n equals to 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then the next column, I would like to list out the f of n, the derivative. So the first one, I have x e to the x, and then x e to, and then the next one is e to the x, and then 1 plus x, e to the x, 2 plus x, e to the x, 3 plus x, and then e to the x, 4 plus x. So that is the derivative. And then the next term, I would like to do the plug-in, and then the nth derivative at a equals to 0. And then we have a 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? And then the next term, you put everything together. So the next term, you have to recall the power series, which is the not the power series, the Taylor series, which is the red Taylor series up there. So that is f of n derivative, and then we have a equals to 0, right? And then divided by n factorial, and then times x minus a, and then raised to the nth power. Again, a is equals to 0, so I can just put a 0 right there. A is equals to 0, so the 0 carry over there. So now let's put everything together. So first we have 0, the derivative at a equals to 0, so we have we take this piece, right? And then that is 0 on top divided by 0 factorial, and then times x raised to the 0 power. So overall that is equals to 0. And then we bring this in, so the 1 is on top, 1 factorial, and then x raised to the first power, you have x to the first. And then you bring this in, 2 divided by 2 factorial, x raised to the second, then you have so that is 2 divided by 2, then you have a 1, x squared, and then you have a 3 divided by 3 factorial, x to the third, so that is 3 divided by 6, so that is 1/2 x to the third, and then you have a 4 divided by 4 factorial, x to the third, so that is 1/6 x to the fourth. So, and then you have to use this table to give me a Taylor polynomial and a Taylor series. Alright, so overall, the function is equals to x times e to the x. So what is the Taylor polynomial? How do you represent this using a Taylor polynomial? That is 0 plus x to the first, and then plus x squared, plus 1/2 x to the third, plus 1/6 x to the fourth. We can keep going, but I only ask you to do the first 5 terms in this problem. You can do the first 10 terms, first 20 terms. Then that will take you maybe ½ hour for each problem. So overall, what is the Taylor polynomial? That is summation. N goes from what? N goes from what? From 0 to 4, right? And then we have, actually it's the general Taylor series to infinity, and then the top you have f of nth derivative, a is equals to 0, divided by n factorial, and then times x raised to the n. This is based on the sequence of the last column. Not the sequence, the pattern of the last column. So that would be the first problem. So like I said before, the problem can be really, really long, and the number can be really, really annoying, depending on what function you have and then what a you have. So that is the end of this video. I don't want to make the video too long, so that's why I don't want to solve multiple problems in one video. So in the next video, I will solve another problem, and then after that, I will solve another problem in the next video. All right? That was the end. I will see you all in the next lesson. If you think this instruction is helpful, let me know in the comment section below. Like the video, share the video for me, subscribe to my channel. Appreciate your help as always. See you all in the next problem. Signing out.